Welcome to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live in the studio. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2020. This is your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic today. Shout out to everybody watching today from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, and on Roku with the Investor News Channel app. Make sure to support the show by subscribing over on YouTube and following on Twitch and DLive. We've got a fantastic show for you guys today. We're going to talk about so much. In the news, we're going to be talking about BCH and BSV mining. We're going to take a look at the numbers, see what effect the upcoming halving might have, see what effect the upcoming halving for the Bitcoin network will have on those networks, as we recently have been discussing the vulnerability to those networks due to just the difference in size of the miners. We're also going to be breaking down today's Bitcoin analysis, looking at some Forex markets as well, if we have the time to get to them, as well as answering your questions. Make sure to drop the questions in the chat of the moderators. We'll put it at the end of the show, the question and answer segment. Again, hopefully you guys are doing fantastic and being safe out there in crypto land. We're going to take a look at a whole lot today. We're going to look at the indication that is coming in on the overall system that I've been building for quite a long time. My overall trading system and strategy that members of the group are privy to, that people who trade with me are privy to, and that I attempt to bring you every day on the show with my best analysis. And despite all odds, trusting in the system has been able to allow me to become a consistently profitable trader over the years. And as I basically preach about all the time, it is consistently following the rule set. It is consistently following the rule set over and over again that leads you from pointing and clicking on random buttons, reacting to every swing of the market, generally in the wrong direction, to having a strategy that you can capitalize on and utilize for the rest of your life, as long as you pay attention to it and respect it. You put in the work and it does the work for you. Now, having said that, I want to get into the charts. There's a lot of exciting things in the market that are happening that I want to talk about, as well as look at our weekly projections and our daily projections as well. What to expect over the weekend, what to expect over the next few weeks in Bitcoin, as well as the next few months, potentially. 2020 is going to be an exciting year with the halving coming up. We might be poised for a face-melting bull market. We're going to talk about all of that as well. If you guys would like to begin building your own technical strategy and begin your journey to becoming a consistently profitable trader, then make sure to check out everything that we do at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. With that said, let's get on with today's show and get right into the BTC analysis, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we are on the weekly time frame, and I've taken the liberty of cleaning up the chart a little bit and proceduralizing for you guys the best way that I can deliver today's analysis, the daily analysis, because a lot of individuals watch the show looking for directional bias. A lot of individuals in the group obviously already have privy access to this, individuals in the Discord as well. Get my notes. But for the show, I definitely want to do my absolute best to convey the overall meaning of what direction we're moving in, what the directional bias is, what the trend bias is, what the significant levels are, and things that you should be looking for. In case there's time lag, some individuals don't catch the show live. A lot of individuals watch it later. Some like to watch it in the evening. Some watch it in the morning. Obviously, we're broadcasting to a global audience that are in different time zones. So let's get right along. So here we are on the weekly chart. We're going to be using the Bitstamp chart because it has the most historical data. The first thing that I want to go over is the all singing, all dancing system that I've been working on constructing. I've been working on this for a long time. And it is the implementation of all of my different strategies codified into one indicator, one system, which is beautiful. It saves me a lot of time and hassle. It's a good thing. Anyways, moving right along with that, I want to talk about this. Simply called it the breaking Bitcoin indicator. So without further ado, we're getting something interesting. We are here on the weekly time frame. And as you can see, this is, as I am, a trend following trader. I wait and I am patient until the trend breaks. I wait and I patiently. Again, one of the best things that I think one of the ways that I've been able to help people the most is just with the long-term analysis of Bitcoin. Typically, when is the best time to buy and hold BTC? And up until Up until now, I've been overwhelmingly bearish on BTC and looking for lower prices because that's exactly what the market had dictated to me. And we are not out of the woods yet. But on this week's close, which will occur on Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be getting a signal that we have not gotten since the beginning of the 2019 bull market, and that is going to be a directional buy signal on my indicator. All right. And I haven't shown this on stream until today because I wasn't exactly sure what was going to happen as we tested the overhead supply level, the weekly EMA cluster. And make no mistake, we are not out of the woods yet, but this signal is very hard to ignore. And I can kind of feel it coming in the air tonight, right? When you look to crypto Twitter and the same traders that were chiding individuals for being long down at these local bottoms, right? When they're now laughing at individuals saying that, oh, your long's trapped above 8K, blah, 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 right? It kind of lets me know that the sentiment is typically going to want to melt them in the face. One jokingly strategy that we've talked about a lot is counter trading crypto Twitter traders. But anyways, here on the weekly time frame, again, hard to ignore the signal that this is going to be generating. And although we do not have, so we're not even in the realm of looking for continuation at this point in time. As we can see, the way that I've constructed this indicator lets us know quite simply when we are in buying territory. It obviously gives us the initial buy signal. When the trend begins to flip to the long side, when it is determining that we have broken a significant enough level based on volume. This indicator looks at a lot of things: volatility, it looks at volume, it looks at historical trend, and it looks at recent trend. And it takes aggregates of those levels to determine its data set and its signals. And that's the nice thing. That's how I trade. Objective signals, non-subjective data. One common, that's a topic for another day. What's the best way to optimize a model? What's the best way to train a model for dealing with what seems to be, from the outside looking in, potentially incomplete data, an incomplete modeling set, and sometimes incoherent data. And the reality is, from the perspective of a systems trader, your model, of course, is going to be not perfect. Your model is never going to be perfect. You're never going to be able to account for all variables, but you are able to build a good system. There's no such thing as perfection. There is just good and consistent. And that is the point, the consistency and the overall goodness. I think that's a good way to put it, of your trading system. Anyways, I digress. So we can actually see that based on this being pushed live, the last few weeks that we've been trading, with the exception of last week, the last weekly close, we were in the white bar range, which is the no trade zone, coming right into the territory of our baseline, of our median zone here, which is how this indicator generates signals. So this is pretty exciting to me. I am a huge believer in Bitcoin. I've been invested in Bitcoin since 2016. It's been a fantastic ride. And I know that the run up in so I've been here right along with you guys. The euphoric highs of 2016, for many individuals, the very depressing falls of 2018, the hopeful optimism, yet this is, kind of the Wall Street psychology cheat street. Oh, this is impossible. We're never going to bull run again. And then 2019 melted a whole lot of faces off as we moved into Q2. And then pretty much over the last 6 months, we've seen a fairly unimpressive show from Bitcoin. Obviously, very profitable trades to the downside. Hedging being a very important strategy, and this is why we stress it so much, because when we move into those red bar territories of the market, we want to make sure that we're protecting our capital and that we are safe and secure, because we profit nobody if we're not profiting ourselves. But for the first time since the runoff in 2019, we are potentially going to be getting a closing buy signal on the weekly time frame, which is, again, long-term, which is your indication, my indication anyways, to be closing out hedge trades, to be unwinding any trades that I might have had to protect my USD valuation to the downside, and looking to maximize my potential gain by moving into spot Bitcoin. So one common question that's been asked of me on the stream, Justin, when would you be spot long instead of hedged? You're looking at it, baby. You're looking at it. So we'll see how this progresses. This isn't confirmed until Sunday, until the weekly close. And of course, we'll be right here on Monday to give you guys the update, because we will not be streaming over the weekend. We won't be streaming Saturday and Sunday. All right, so moving on from the breaking Bitcoin indicator, I want to look at VPVR support and resistance as well, looking at our significant levels of the volume profile. And we can also bring up at this point in time our levels here. Okay. Here we go. This is quite good. So as I said, not 100% out of the woods yet, taking that indicator off of the chart. So if one was looking at the charts without the, without the initial objective signal of that indicator of my life's work, then what we would be looking at from a supply and resistance standpoint would be price pushing into an overhead level of supply. If we bring up our exponential moving averages as well and look for our significant weekly exponential moving averages, again, we are trading above the weekly 55. We are trading above the weekly 13, currently receiving downward pressure from our overhead weekly 21. Now, a beautiful scenario when we are in clear bullish territory, and you can verify this for yourself by simply looking at the 2019 run, by looking at the 2017 run, by looking at the 2004. You can just go back and look at all these times. Obviously, the weekly data drying up a little bit the farther you go back because of the because of how fresh and new and Bitcoin's a baby. Bitcoin's a baby. So you gotta, you only start to get some of these significant EMAs and moving averages as you move forward in time. But that's good. We're now in an area where we have lots of good data to begin to judge and receive objective signals for our trading. So pushing into overhead supply from volume profile, this was a strong initiation of selling back in 2018. It was a strong initiation of selling in 2019. However, this is an established area where a lot of individuals, I would say not 100% late stage buyers, but where a large portion of the market entered long. And you can see that from the volume profile. You can see the width of the green bars indicating buy volume by price at that area. And you can see the width of the red bars indicating sell volume at that area by price. Horizontal level volume by horizontal level volume by price, VPVR. So this is an interesting area of the market that we are pushing ourselves up into. If there is going to be rejection, it is going to come from here. Weekly closes above this level would be beyond bullish for me. As we can see, there is an area above us in the about the $9,300 region to about 9,500 is our last significant level of resistance, and pushing above that, especially coming off the heels of a second, of the initial bullish wave beginning in Q2 of 2019. We've had time to cool off from that, about a 6-month significant pullback back again, as we can see. If we eliminate the data from the 2017 run-up, which I do in all my modeling, then what we can see is that we did just bounce off of the point of control. It was a return to the mean. It was a nice, roughly 50% pullback of the entire bullish cycle to the upside. And I think based on that, with 2020 coming up, my sentiment is beginning to flip to the bullish side. Again, not out of the woods yet. If you were being very conservative, you would want to see price convincingly close above this entire cluster potentially. But we do begin to get into the area where we begin to stretch, where we do not want to miss out on an opportunity because we're being too conservative. With life, again, the only thing that's certain is death. And there are times when you simply have to take your best bet, because taking your best bet gives you an opportunity to win. You can gamble on something that you can actually win, and applying money management and psychological discipline to such a philosophy, to such an approach to life and the markets is what can allow you to be a consistently profitable trader. Fear, uncertainty, doubt, complaining, whining, that stuff will send you down to washout lane very, very quickly. And it's very important to be able to admit when your thesis has been invalidated, right? Myself, I am a good example. I was fairly certain that we would actually tap the $4,900 level of support. And that's still a possibility for me. Of course, invalidating and rejecting from this current area would make that more valid, would make that more realistic. Let's say we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen today. We don't know what's going to happen Saturday or Sunday. It's possible that this signal can be invalidated. It's not closed yet. And it's also possible, again, there is nothing that is 100% bulletproof. But for example, that is the nice thing about having objective signals. Instead of having to sit here and watch price push to 10,000, to 12,000, to 13,000 and hold an underwater short? That sounds silly. And of course, not in an underwater short. So all good and well, all good and well. So anyways, currently, again, the only overhead EMA resistance line that is above us is the EMA 13. We had not, the biggest thing that concerned me was the 1355 cross under, but it's possible that we can avert that. Again, if the weekly signal here is going to be valid, and we do continue to climb up on consistent basis here with power, which it seems we've done, again, we haven't completely rejected from this area. Rejections, especially weekly rejections from Bitcoin, and you can see them even on the weekly time frame, are typically more pronounced from this. The selling has not been violent, and this begins to look like profit taking and not rejection on this time frame. Begins to look like profit taking and not rejection. So I think that individuals who are strenuous that we have to reject from this area and are unwilling to accept the possibility that they can be wrong, and this is potentially the bottom, I think they're going to be the people who are hurt the most. The individuals that bought the bottom, congratulations to you for your faith. You're a great person. And individuals that have been conservative up until now, waiting for a more strong signal, I think, again, they're generally the individuals that profit the most, right? They're not the first in. They're not the last out. They get in right when they feel they should, right when the signs begin to look right to them, and they ride price, and they ride the trend, they ride the wave. Because when Bitcoin moves, as do all trending assets, And we can thank volatility, we can thank price discovery for that, but I digress. Below us, our current level of support and demand, our current level of demand and support below us is going to be right at the point of control around 6,400. That cluster actually, that high volume node cluster actually stretches up to about 67.86 and down to about 63.31. Now on the weekly time frame, we tested this level twice. You can see the long wicks down into that zone. Rejecting from this area and returning to there will make 4,900 almost a certainty in my mind. I don't think that we can actually fail this bullish push up and still hold support at 6,900. I think that'll be too psychologically shattering for the market. I think that we will have to descend lower to 4,900 potentially. Now, and also we do have some good confluence there with our weekly 200 exponential moving average coming in right at 56.06 on the Coinbase chart, a little bit lower. Just depends on the quality of your data and which one you want to utilize as far as that goes. But again, the weekly 1355 cross under will almost certainly make 4,900 a reality, and rejecting from this area on strong volume, on strong rejection, almost certainly will posit 4,900. But without those two things happening, this really does begin to look quite bullish. We also, I have drawn this channel by request, and I do think that it's okay and pertinent to talk about. I'm not a huge fan of chart patterns, but we have been trading in a descending channel for the last 6 months. And this is the first time on significant volume and with a strong potential close that we are looking to break out of that 6-month descending channel. So thank you, by the way, for the suggestion to draw that channel. I do think that that's pertinent. I do know that a lot of individuals look at that. And although it's not really the data metrics that I look at, I don't utilize arbitrary lines that I draw. It is important to note that a lot of market participants do respond to that, amateur and professional, and that the market, again, seems to be responding to that quite favorably. So last little bit of overhead resistance starting at around 9,300 to 9,500, really 9,250 to 9,450. And again, pushing up to there, clearing the top of this cluster at about 8,300 on daily closing basis, almost certainly will push us up to the $9,200, $9,500 area. And clearing that, again, that's typically going to be blue sky breakout, because there's no significant, as you can see from the volume profile, there's not a significant level of volume or resistance above there. And you begin to get quite arbitrary when looking for that. We'll have to use other metrics. We'll have to use our actual trading strategy metrics to determine tops and bottoms when we get to that area, or not specifically tops and bottoms, but more specifically, when is it best to be out and on the sidelines. And one final look at the breaking Bitcoin indicator there for you guys. Again, first weekly buy signal since January of 2019. All right, moving on to the daily time frame. Again, nice return to form for me. Looking at the daily system, and this is not all of my daily system. This is just incorporating the elements that I am in. This indicator right here, I look to have published for the premium members with much more features, actually, to be quite honest. But I've been looking at aggregating all of my trading systems and working on the digestibility, the usefulness, the ability to look, see, react, and respond. So all of the things that I utilize in my trading. So areas where it's too risky, volume, volatility, continuations, early exits, baseline management, all of these things, overall trend directional bias. So this is a nice return to form for me because this is a recent trade that I didn't capitalize on as much as I should have. So on the daily, even in this trading area, this system, which is a nice return to form for me because this is overall the broader concept that I've been working on for 2 years. Again, would have generated one losing trade in this area, would have actually generated a winning trade on here, but this would have been a high danger candle. So the high majority here is that we actually would have sat this trade out, but we did actually hit one ATR, so it would have been a partial take profit and then profitable stop loss in profit zone or break even. So not as much money as we would like to get, but definitely a winning trade. And again, a nice swing there, actually, a nice swing there. So from entry on that candle, total profit potential of about 6% on that swing. And then again, the secondary long signal came actually right here on this candle. This was the 4th. This was a Saturday. Typically don't like trading. And then again, we were off to the races on these 2 weekly candles. Now, what is very interesting yesterday is, I don't know if you can see these dots that follow price. This is my continuation system. And if you can see really closely here, this dot is golden. As opposed to white. White means nothing. This is a nothing zone. But golden means continuation. A continuation long trade, actually. So again, we can get into the particulars. I've had some life things. Again, not as well capitalized on this as I could have been personally. But again, trying my best to convey all of this to the members and trying my best to get this pushed out. So overall, things are quite well. But again, a nice continuation buy signal on yesterday's daily close. Nice continuation buy signal on yesterday's daily close. And the market has responded to that, price pushing up about 3.72% from open to close, about $290. A little bit higher, a little bit lower. Price currently trading at about 8,100 right now. And I am long. I'm also not hedged. I am actually spot long on Bitcoin and long at risk. Let's see here. So continuation trade off yesterday's daily close. Nothing here so far. Important moving averages. As we can see here, price is consolidating a little bit in a range between the 55 daily exponential moving average and the 200 daily exponential moving average. Again, we had initially rejected from the 200 exponential moving average, coming in at about 81.46. The market is quite bullish today. I do think that we are going to crack this. We'll see this when we actually go and look at the intraday chart, which we're going to go look over at tensor charts here in just a moment. But here on the daily, it does look very, very strongly like price wants to break this, wants to push down. We did have a nice pullback to our 8-period daily exponential moving average and actually wicked down very, very close within the buy zone of the 13 exponential moving average for those utilizing the 13 EMA as a baseline. The reversal baseline bounce was strong. By the way, this component that you guys see of my indicator is going to be a channel that I'm going to be applying to the baseline indicator that I currently have published. I'd actually like to get that done tonight. Hopefully I can, but assuredly I'll get it done over the weekend, as well as lesson 2 in the 5th module of PTP will also be published this weekend for the premium members, covering topics that you guys have requested, such as reversal baseline bounces, utilizing the baseline for risk management, early exit systems, and again, mostly focusing on continuations utilizing the baseline and some nuances that, again, other individuals do not cover. With that being said, of course, as always, what do I always say? Trade responsibly. Yes. Manage your risk, manage your money, never FOMO into a position, and do your own analysis. Make your own trades and write down why you take trades. Every single losing trader that I talk to, I ask to see their notes, and they don't have notes. Every losing trader has one thing in common, and they don't take notes. That's it. Every human being can be taught pattern recognition. Every human being can learn from their mistakes. But if you do not do the work and treat this marketplace seriously and write down why and when you take trades and for what purpose, so that you can see if you're taking trades for the wrong reason. It's a systems approach. You have to collect and systematize and proceduralize your data. If you do not do that, you will never be successful in this market. So, free tip for today, pro advice, whatever style of trading that you're utilizing, you need to have a notebook, Post-its, whatever. I highly recommend a notepad. I'll show you guys mine. It's actually my notepad for 2020 right here. Every single trade goes in here. I write it down. I also utilize it to jot down thoughts and ideas as I'm trading, whether that's intraday or whether I'm doing my daily time frame trading off of the daily time frame. So it's absolutely invaluable. It's absolutely invaluable. And I'm a big advocate of actually doing it physically with pen and paper. I have a lot of thoughts on this. There's nothing wrong with spreadsheets and data and Excel or Google Sheets or whatever you use. I utilize those things as well, but for slightly different purposes. But I'm a big advocate for pen and paper for the same reason that I'm an advocate for utilizing blackboards to teach and not slides, right? Because the human brain can process information about as quickly as you can write. Whereas if you're looking at a lot of digital data, your brain just cannot process that data quickly enough as the digital data can move. Like slide. How many presentations have you guys been to where the lecturer is showing you slide after slide after slide after what? Huh? What? And that's the lecturer. The people in the audience are even worse. But I've been to some fantastic lectures by individuals that utilize props and blackboards and know how to give presentations. This is my personal passion, and one of my studies is how to give presentations and how to present better, public speaking, all of this stuff. And you don't fall asleep during those lectures and presentations. And I hope the premium members feel the same about the quality of the Pathways to Profit, the quality of the Pathways to Profit material, and also our premium webinar series in our online training academy. So the comments have been good so far. The reviews have always been good. So make sure to let me know if you guys have any suggestions. Working on getting the blackboard. Don't worry about it. All right. Anyways, let's move on to intraday here on the utilizing tensor charts, as we can see. So utilizing tensor charts, let's take a gander. We are going to be watching the order books and order flow over here, utilizing AgriTrade. Utilizing AgriTrade and utilizing tensor charts, which is neat. This is accessible. You guys can go check this out. So where to begin here? On the 5-minute chart, let's kind of break down what happened here, starting with last night. We guys can just give you guys an update on just one trade yesterday to clarify. I was incorrect yesterday, and I apologize. I just got kind of carried away with speaking. And I misspoke, right? So to be more specific, yesterday's long trade, which if you guys will recall, happened right around here. This is right around the time that we were live and talking, right? We were actually down here and kind of pushing up to the upside, actually, as we ended the show. I said that I had gotten filled at 77.80, and that was incorrect. I had a scale in buy position from 78.60, 78.20, and 77.80. So it was it was a 20, 30, 50 weight. 77.80 did not get filled. Okay, did not get filled. And so what occurred is I was filled at 78.60, 78.20. So it was a partial fill. I had 50% of my position, and I was able to take profit at 77.90, 77.80. I'm gonna have to go look at my log, but I believe that my limit was 77.90. Could have been 77.80. I'll have to double check. That was again 50% of my position of 50% of what I wanted my position to be. So from the original size 25, it doesn't matter. However many contracts I had, I sold half of them at 79.80. I set my stop loss at 78.70. Price came down and hit my stop loss in profit because my average entry was down around 78.40 at that point. It's actually 78.30. So I was able to pull that profitable trade out. And then my limit bid at 77.80 did fill down at 77.80. But anyways, as we move intraday, we can see price doing some things. But what happened last night? We had this buy wall. We talked about this buy wall at 77.50. And when what happened, we did bounce strongly again, not quite off of the 77.50 buy wall, the 7800 buy wall. We did bounce off. And I want you guys to watch for this pattern here, because this is important and something that we're learning more nuance about, learning how to build our models around this, because the wall at 7,800 successfully bounced price off of it several times. And then when we actually got the biggest movement, look what happened. The wall was either pulled or filled, right? The wall was either pulled or filled. And again, it looks like it was filled. But as you can see, price briefly pushes down below it, right? Price briefly breaks down below that, and you can see a new wall get established. So again, my thought is that right before the actual movement, the wall is actually pulled because we can't actually see partial fills here, wall pulled, and then partial fills here. You kind of got to watch order flow quickly or be aggregating the data or be downloading the data yourself. But the wall gets pulled and then the big movement occurs, right? The big movement. This is a very profitable intraday swing, as you guys can see. This is the one that we caught yesterday in about a 2.5% movement intraday, which is absolutely beautiful. But just as quickly as we went up, we came down extremely quickly and bounced off the new buy wall, which had still been there at 77.50. And I was quite confident in my long position as long as that wall at 77.50 stayed there. But let's move on. As we can see, the wall at 77.50 was pulled and got taken out. The wall at 7,700 stayed intact. And a couple things happened. Here. Again, we can see that the wall at 77.50 bounced price. Price came down. The wall was pulled, briefly got filled. You can see, I don't know if you can see that blue dot right there. That's actually historical order book data. So we can see that the wall moved from here to here and bounced price a little bit harder, but not strong enough. So price did end up coming down. That wall was pulled or filled. And then the wall at 7,700 again started to get chewed into. What happened? What happened right before the big movement? The wall is pulled momentarily. It shows up right here. So the wall's pulled, shows up momentarily. And then price skyrockets to the upside. Also, volume delta divergence also gave us the positive buy signal. Now, I ended up going to sleep right around here. I went to sleep right around here last night. So, largely missed this. Sometimes it sucks to be an American. Sometimes it doesn't. But anyways, on the run up today, again, we saw shorts getting their faces absolutely melted off as delta divergence began to pop up across the screen. Delta divergence here, delta divergence here, delta divergence here, delta divergence here. But what's happening? Price is moving up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Likely telling you what is going to occur because lots of people are trying to short this upwards movement. It likely means that they're going to get their faces absolutely wrecked and we're going to get a significant pullback, right? You're going to see a stop hunt to the upside. That's exactly what we saw. We can see the first wall at 7,900 was pulled. Price came up to the wall at 8,000, which is that wall, and the wall at 8,100 were the two walls that I was watching. Significant walls that I was watching. And again, what did we see? We saw the wall at 8,000 get taken off. We come up to the wall at 8,100. And again, here's the pattern. I want you guys to notice this is the third time I pointed out this pattern. Price comes up to the wall, rejects, pushes up to it again. The wall's pulled. The wall moves up here, and then price takes a highly volatile swing to the downside. So what this was a liquidation run for shorts, right? Anybody who shorted the bottom got smoked right around here. We can see the pullback slightly and smoked here. And then as shorts begin to enter into the market, and they are trading on the wrong side of the market, they are trying to take Bitcoin down, right? And that's the wrong directional bias to have. We established that on the weekly and the daily. One should be looking for longs. But because they're intra-swinging in the wrong direction, they're gonna get trapped. Whenever you see individuals entering into shorts in this high of a quantity and they're trading against the directional trend, you're likely going to see a massive liquidation hunt and a pullback from that, a massive pullback from that. So that is what happened. We did end up, the wall was pulled at 8,100 briefly, slammed back down, price dropped all the way down to 7,900. I was actually filled on the way down, basically from, so again, just to be very, very clear here, right? I unfortunately went to bed. I was unable to catch this movement to the upside, but I did catch this one. I did catch this one just now. So because I was filled on my long trade, let's see here, between filled between here and all the way down at 79.40 was actually my last fill. 79.40 was actually my last fill intraday today. And price now moving beautifully up. And the buy wall that currently held was at 7,900. So a very nice SR flip. We can see that 8,000 tried to hold. A wall did pop up there briefly. Wasn't to be. We did see another secondary plunge down and a third plunge down. A little bit of consolidation and a pop back above. Break of this wall, break of this wall. And currently, if we look at overhead, let's actually look at what we're looking at right now. Really no significant walls until 84.10, guys. I said this yesterday. I mean, the wall, the area between 8,100 and the area between 8,100 and 8,400 is extremely thin. 8,100 still needs to breach. So intraday, we're not out of the woods yet for a really huge bullish push to the upside. We've already seen some beautiful swings to the upside. And again, my trade is, let me make sure here. still not out of the woods yet. Yeah, I haven't hit my first take profit yet. So I'm not out of the woods yet. I am at risk right now. I'm not in a no loss situation. So we'll see. Again, the important things about trading are, and this is something that I constantly, it's not constantly, it's fine. It's just part of learning. My students learn this, after time. When you take a trade, you establish your reason for taking the trade, you write it down, you set your bids, you set your stop loss, you set your take profits, and then you let the trade play out. Don't finagle, right? It's the worst thing that you can do. Don't touch a trade. Just let it play out. You need to determine, because here's the reality. You're not going to be, and this is going to be true to 95% of the people, and I apologize. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm just telling you my experience after a lot of years in the market. You're not as good of a trader as you think you are, right? You're not as good as predicting and watching price and feeling out what the market's doing. You're not as good as you think you are. A very few amount of people are, but from a systems perspective, it's impossible to identify who those people are. It's impossible to determine when they're going to be optimized and when they're going to be unoptimized. So they're going to have their hits and misses, right? And it's just very, very difficult to, again, mostly it's just difficult to find them, and it's very, very difficult to be consistent. Again, hedge fund managers don't outperform the S&P 500 on a 10-year basis. Now, when we get, I've talked about this before. When we drill down into the nuance of portfolio building, however, in the realm of traditional stocks and currencies and investments, which I'm also active in, then everything's fine. Yeah, active fund managers do not outperform the indices in a roaring bull market, which we've been in for over 10 years. About 10 years, excuse me. But when the market turns, those active fund managers are going to be beating the pants off of the market. They're going to be beating the pants off the market. So again, it's hard to determine when they're going to be optimized, but I guarantee you in a down market, and again, this is why it's quite simple to make money trading Bitcoin when price is in a bull market, right? You just buy and you don't sell until you just pick a simple moving average, right? Pick a 10, pick a 20, pick a 30. When price goes above it on the weekly, buy. When it comes below it, sell. You'll make money. It's not that difficult, right? But again, having the discipline to do that is very difficult for some people. And you can eke out the extra profits by adopting a nice patient trading strategy, right? But try that one, right? People laugh at it, but it makes money. But in a down market, this is when most people get fleeced. And this is where individuals like fund managers and particularly professional traders like myself really do stand up head and shoulders above other traders who are more passive traders, because we know how to preserve capital and actually profit on the way down, whereas your average retail trader does not. So, anyways, not out of the woods yet. Intraday, things do look very, very good. As you can see, the volume is all to the upside. The push is to the upside. Let's see here. Let's take a look at that wall. Yeah, the wall at 8,100 has largely been chewed into. It is dispersed now between 8,100 and 8,200, which is actually kind of exactly what I expected to see. The next significant wall is going to be at 8,210 now, beefed up there at about 100 BTC sell order at 8,210, 8,230 as well. So that's kind of our first significant area of resistance. It's actually pretty clear from here to there. So again, trade safely, do your own analysis, take your own trades, and write down the reason for taking the trade. Not just because some dude on YouTube talked about the order books. Anyways, looking over at significant trades as well, and then the broader market, and we'll get into today's cryptocurrency segment. Yeah, again, big volume, good stuff happening today. Volume dying off last night before the bullish push, but overall high volatility, high volume day. Good optimum conditions for day trading with the right directional bias. Again. And take a look at the broader market. It's a beautiful day in the market, guys. It's a beautiful day in the market for just about everything. So we have BSV up over 28.4%, Bitcoin Cash up over 10%, IOST 7.2%, MadeSafe Dash, Zcash, Litecoin up 9.2%. Go Litecoin, kind of long on that one. No bias here. Hypercash, Ren, Crypt. Big winner of the day is going to be Bitcoin SV, BCH, and BSV being up a lot brings kind of the no offense to anybody. I love everybody. But got several DMs asking me about BSV today. I still decline to hold that as a long-term hold. But again, I'll trade anything under the sun. Typically not something that's up 30% if I haven't already been established into the market. However, moving right along with that. Let's go over to... actually, that's it. That's going to conclude our market analysis for the day. We're going to get into our cryptocurrency segment, and then we're going to answer your questions. So again, today's Bitcoin and market analysis was brought to you by the Kraken Cryptocurrency Premium Trading Group. If you guys would like to begin building your own technical trading strategy and work with the fastest growing trading and educational group on the interwebs in cryptocurrency, make sure to check out everything that we do at premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. Sign up for a 7-day free trial. Love to see you guys in our community. Moving right along with that, we're going to get right into today's crypto currently, which is going to be brought to you by our friend Spectre Security Coin. Make sure to go check them out at Spectre Security IO. And I want to thank them for sponsoring today's crypto comment giveaway. So all we need to do is go over to youtube.yt.krakencryptocurrency.com, which is how you can quickly find the show if you ever need to. Yesterday's show was Bitcoin crumbles from 8,000. Do we have another push left in us? Let's go over here. Let's proceed with today's crypto comment giveaway sponsor. Again, definitely want to thank Spectre Security Coin. Make sure to go check out their community and their project at spectresecurity.io. Good friends of the channel. If you guys have any security needs, make sure to go hit them up. That is what they are good at. So we are going to load comments from yesterday's video. We have 12 comments on yesterday's video. We're going to randomly pick a winner, and it's definitely not me. Michael Pell. Michael Pell, you are the winner of 8,000 XSPC, baby. Thank you so much for your support, for participating. Make sure to get a hold of me in the Discord, and I will tip you I will gladly reward you with today's crypto comment giveaway. Win 8,000 XSPC. You can also make sure to get the XSPC by joining Spectre Security's Discord. There is a channel in our Discord, krakencryptocurrency.com, where you can, there's a Discord invite link in there. You can go right in there. You can create your own wallet in their Botsman channel. You can manage it all there, or you can download their desktop client wallet at spectresecurity.io. Just wherever you'd like to receive it, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. And he says, 2020, baby, going to be an outstanding year. Thank you for the stream. It's going to be a face-melting year, my friend. Thank you so much. And thank you again to spectresecurity.io for sponsoring today's comment giveaway. All right, with that being said, let's get into today's crypto currently segment. Now, this is going to be an interesting story coming off the heels of the, some would say, face-melting pump for BSV. But the title of today's article that we're going to be commenting about is Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Cash halvings spell doom for the miners. Ba-ba-ba-bum. So are Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV miners in trouble? And is altruism enough to keep mining the network at a loss? Now, as you guys know, of course, cryptocurrency mining is supposed to be, ideally, a lucrative activity. Running specialized equipment around the clock to generate valuable block rewards is the name of the game. But when it comes to miners operating on the Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV networks, this seemingly simple enterprise is proving to be far from profitable. The two blockchains are famous for splitting off from Bitcoin. Of course, BCH split off from Bitcoin and BSV split off from BCH, to be more accurate. They split off from the Bitcoin network and separated themselves over a contentious disagreement over how to scale. For more information on this, make sure to check out yesterday's video where we covered the new, the proposed, it's not formalized yet, but the Bitcoin Improvement Protocol is going to be introducing Taproot and Schnorr signatures to the Bitcoin Core network and client in 2020. However, over this contentious argument to scale, the BCH and BSV chains appear to be operating, miners at least, appear to be operating the network out of altruism rather than a pure motivation for profit, right? For the libertarian paradise. And with both chains featuring much cheaper transactions, meaning what little extra is collected from processing transactions doesn't really amount to much profit. Again, with far less transactions and with much cheaper transactions, one of the additional incentives for miners is to pick up additional transaction fees. So any individual wanting to send a transaction on the Bitcoin network, for example, can opt to pay more fees to the miner in order to have their block processed more quickly. It's a free market for transactions, right? So if you want to pay more, you can have your transaction processed in the next block or within the next 10 blocks. Or if you want to be a cheapskate, you can have it processed within the next 20 or 50 blocks, depending on your client, depending on your wallet software. And again, the transaction costs for the Bitcoin core client, or of course the Bitcoin core network, are of course going to be more expensive than Bitcoin than BCH and BSV. So what that means is a disincentive for miners. It's far more profitable to be mining on the Bitcoin core network because the transaction fees are higher, meaning that there's more profit incentive for miners. With the cheapness of the transactions on the BCH and BSV networks, not to mention the lack of hash rate, there's not a lot of additional incentive for miners to stay for those extra juicy transaction fees because there are none. There are none. Now, although transaction fees, like in the case of blockchains, represent a rather negligible portion of the miner's operating reward, the big reward obviously is going to be the block reward, the Coinbase, right? So, for example, which is reduced by half every 4 years, roughly every halving event, which we're going to be experiencing here in 2020 for the Bitcoin network. Now, the primary dividend for miners, as I said, comes in the form of this block reward. This is the coveted prize for solving the cryptographic puzzle, which generates the next block to be added to the blockchain. Even on the Bitcoin network, the daily collection of transaction fees only amounts to about $200,000 per day aggregate for the network. And this is a mere fraction of block rewards being paid out daily. Now, BSV and BCH face even greater difficulties than the lack of transaction fees, not only requiring the same expensive and power-hungry ASIC equipment for hashing blocks as the Bitcoin network requires, but they also attempt to mine and distribute much larger blocks, much larger blocks. This means higher capacity hardware and their network putting additional strain on miners and node operators because of the size of the blocks. Now, relative to mining on Bitcoin, for example, the networks are not currently very lucrative. We're talking about the BCH and BSV networks. They're not very lucrative to operate on, with many miners likely struggling, probably far worse than struggling, to break even on their mining investment. Making matters worse, the block reward halving is predicted to arrive in April, and this is a month early for these two networks. This is a month early for these two networks relative to Bitcoin's halving forecasted in May of this year. Now, that month could prove to be a devastation to network participation as far as miners go, as fleeing over to Bitcoin with your mining resources will likely be twice as incentivizing as it already is now. Because once the block reward comes in, the actual profits for miners, the actual block rewards they're going to be receiving are going to be reduced. So the incentives to currently mine the Bitcoin network is already there. It's already more profitable to switch your machines over to mining Bitcoin than it is BCH or BSV. But come the halving, this is going to get twice as worse. This is going to get twice as worse. So as we see, we already see the network is largely being operated and mined based on altruism. And with the up and coming halving event, we have to ask, what are the ramifications for the network as a whole? Are miners going to continue to operate at basically 200% altruism moving forward? There's also the matter of market liquidity. Bitcoin has a major advantage as the market leader with a strong pool of liquidity and demand for miners to sell their mined coins into and fund their operations. So there's always demand for miners. Again, the consistent sell pressure that comes in every single day comes from miners, typically. Of course, there's always market participants buying and selling, but you have to understand that miners are always distributing on the network, typically, right? Every block reward is typically going to be selling some of that Bitcoin to cover the cost of operations, right? A profitable mining operation that is based off actual fiat profit, for example, and not BTC profit, is going to be mining a block, receiving the block reward, and selling that block on an exchange. In fact, most large mining operations have like, for example, like market maker arrangements with exchanges, as they likely should, because they're high volume clients. It's just a reality of the world we live in. Now, so there's a constant, and this would be terrible for the market if there wasn't as much demand for Bitcoin as there is. Again, when selling overtakes buying pressure, price moves down, and when buying overtakes selling pressure, price moves up. But there's always been consistent and growing demand for Bitcoin. So as we can see, even with miners selling right now, which they always are, price is moving up. Now, BSV miners, on the other hand, are often pressured to hold on to their block rewards, as heavy selling into the market would only further depress the asset's price, which, again, we can just look at. You guys go back to August 2017, when the UASF was activated and BCH and BTC became two separate chains, and you can see the price of Bitcoin started going down, the price of BCH started going up, right? And then that changed, and No, that was around, I think, about $2,000, roughly around $2,500, right? I made a Steemit post about it, right? I was like, hey, are we going to see BCH trade higher than BTC? Wow, hey, whoa, whoa. Luckily, I sold my BCH around $1,500, and I've never looked back. And what have we seen from the price of BCH? Well, it's pretty darn low, guys. Pretty darn low. BSV, even lower. Again, if you just zoom out and look historically, and where's the price of Bitcoin? In an opposite direction. Now, so that's BSV. Miners particularly pressured to hold onto their block rewards as their market is not very liquid. There is not consistent demand for all of their coins, and heavy selling on the market will further depreciate the price of the asset. So again, be careful of this 40% move into the upside, because there are miners on the sidelines who have been waiting for this opportunity. But again, it depends on the altruism of the network. Nobody can predict the future. Now, both BCH and BSV's saving grace may be their loyal and dedicated following. Now, the miners on both of these chains do seem to be motivated by altruism, from what I can determine, or long-term aspirations practically since the inceptions of the chain. Now, since forking off from Bitcoin in 2017, Bitcoin Cash's block production has on multiple occasions declined heavily, depended heavily on a single unknown miner, who many suspect is obviously BitMEX. BSV is in a similar case. BSV is in a very similar place. Close to 50% of blocks, all blocks mined on the BSV chain also are responsible or depend on one unknown miner, with many obviously suspecting that to be N-Chain or CoinGeek. Now, according to the growing pressure as we move into the halvening, is the depressed market prices of BCH and adding to this growing list of pressures is the current market price of both BCH and BSV. After the recent price decline, BCH returned to around $236.28. BSV traded at $116.47 prior to the beginning of the show. And for now, the coins do seem to be holding their ground in 2020, but their valuations are still significantly down from the excitement generated during the November 2018 hard fork and August 2017 hard fork. Now, we can only speculate on the rationale behind this non-profitable mining. It is possible that these miners are being supported by a large funded controlling interest who bank on a future price appreciation and success in the big block approach to Bitcoin, kind of looking for a long-term resurgence and a win to the big block versus SegWit argument that Bitcoin Core won successfully back in August 2017 with the activation of the user-activated soft fork for SegWit. And again, we covered Taproot and Schnorr signatures yesterday, which are going to be coming onto the network in 2020. Now, both projects obviously have very, very vocal communities. Obviously, anybody can just do some scanning here on YouTube and see that. One side claiming, both BCH and BSV claiming that their coin is superior to Bitcoin, and anybody that doesn't believe that BCH and BSV is the future, hashtag BSV the standard, hashtag BCH the standard, hashtag XRP the standard. There's no rational conversation typically. It's generally, it's always sunny in Philadelphia, red lines connecting all the dots, and typically just very abusive language in my experience. But again, I'm sure there's good people on both sides, so I don't mean to alienate anybody again. Nobody is a bad person. I'm not morally judging anybody for their choices. At the end of the day, everybody has to pick their horse and go with it, right? And if you feel strongly in your investment, if you feel strongly in your belief, if you feel strongly in your support of the network, then I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to question you, and nobody is. You are your own individual, man, woman, fish, orangutan. It's, whatever you are, man. It's all good. I don't want to assume your species. Now, we can only assume that either it's altruism or some form of funded interest that is banking on a long-term resurgence of these coins. So this is considered a, kind of an investment in one side of a battle, the battle between big blocks and the battle between soft forks, right? The battle between hard forks, centralization of mining, and no backwards compatibility and security vulnerabilities. Probably being a little biased here, and I apologize for that. And the other side of the battle, you have soft forks, you have slow network upgrades, you have backwards compatibility, and you have less security vulnerabilities and slow upgrades of the network. So and you have big blocks basically versus improvements to the network, right? Now, again, it's my opinion, and most, I believe, of the investors in Bitcoin and most of the market participants in Bitcoin, that battle is over with, that battle has been won, that there is no more left to that battle because BCH and BSV are their own chains, and they will rise and fall on their own merits, depending on their appeal to the market and their appeal to the general user base. However, there is no denying that all three sides, of course, Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency, has very strong proponents all over the world. But it is no denying that BCH and BSV have their strong proponents as well, who have their own reasonings and rationales behind why they do what they do. Common claims that they're going to make are, bigger blocks, lower fees. Of course, in the case of BSV, proponents Calvin Ayre and Craig Wright see themselves as bootstrapping the BSV infrastructure, willing to risk their fortunes potentially, trying to provide a blockchain-powered infrastructure to the world, of course, with their patent on it. Now, banking on economies of scale, these individuals see the future world of consumers and entrepreneurs coming to rely on cheap and fast micropayments by the trillions. They don't anticipate, so BSV, according to Calvin Ayre and Craig Wright, they don't anticipate to be profitable until the next generation of digital innovation comes to their ecosystem. Like, they have to wait for it to come. Now, of course, while both the BCH and BSV projects have claimed to be, quote unquote, the real Bitcoin, and depending on how you see it, either blessed or tarnished by the endorsement of the supposed Satoshi Nakamoto, Craig Wright, their destinies, I think, will be determined fairly soon, come April 2020 with the BCH BSV happenings. So definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions. This is a very contentious subject and have to be consistent in our beliefs, in our views, and what we think is best for the network, what I think is best for the world, and bring this information to you, touch on the uncomfortable stuff, give you guys the facts as objectively as I can. Let me know your thoughts and opinions and comments down below. Sarcastic remarks, death threats, leave them all down there. I will pick a random commenter, not only for tomorrow's crypto comment giveaway, but I will also do my best to respond to you within the next 48 hours, 24. If it's a death threat. Promise, I'll get right back to you. Moving right along, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for the Crypto Currently segment. We're going to move on now to your questions and answers after a brief word from our friend ByBit.
This is Jason when he first learned about Bitcoin margin trading on BitMEX.
Why? Why? Give it back! Give it back! Oh, give it back!
This is Jason 6 months later after signing up for ByBit with the Cracking Cryptocurrency referral link found in the description below. Don't make the same mistake as Jason. Sign up today at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com.
All right. Here we are back at the live scene of Mr. Bitcoin, currently trading at about 80.18. Let's go into my Q&A section, and we'll see what chart requests we can take. And we will see what questions we can answer. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. First, let me check one thing here. Okay. I've got a chart request for AMD from Wendy. I will get to that. DaVinci, I have a chart request for Perl USDT. I will get to that. Mustafa Mohammed has a couple questions here. The first one is, could you share with us in another video your trading journal? All members in the group have access to my trading journal. They can see every single trade that I make in real time. So yes. Let's see here. Colin Galvey Hopefully I said that right, my friend. Colin Galvey says, fail to plan, you plan to fail. Trading Journal is a must, 3 years full-time. Still writing them down. Good info, Justin. Thank you so much, my friend. Nice Hash Logan asks for GoChain BTC. That's 3 chart requests. I think that's all I'll take, but thank you, sir. Yes, I will look at that. Crypto Omega says, I've been following you for a while. Great channel and content. I really like the way you speak and explain things. Congratulations. Keep it up. Thank you, my friend. I highly appreciate that. I have my team to thank. Wave Ways says, where to short BSV BTC? I don't actually know. I don't actually know where we can short BSV BTC. Let me look into this over the weekend and I'll have the answer for you on Monday. I think maybe you might be able to do it on Binance Margin. I don't know if they've... No, Binance removed BSV, right? Yeah. Don Camden asks, on Tensor Charts, is it BitMEX XBTUSD that you're looking at? No, that is Binance USDT. Anton Lieber says, where can we get the order book? I'm currently looking at it on Tensor Charts. Ken says, and how do you like the BSV today, Justin and gang? I'm sorry, Ken. I still feel exactly the same way that I felt yesterday. Anton Lieber says, which order book do you use? I answered that with Mr. Don Camden, but it's Binance BTC USDT. Sanjeev Kumar asks, hi, what does spot long mean? Is it taking no position on the exchange and keeping the Bitcoin in your wallet? So spot long means that, yes, you are just holding Bitcoin, meaning that you are at risk, right? So if you're just holding Bitcoin, that means you're spot long because you have bought Bitcoin for fiat, right? You have exchanged fiat for BTC, or you've accepted BTC for labor. For whatever reason, you hold BTC. So if you look at its dollar valuation, for example, that is going to depend on the market price of BTC USD. If price is going up, then the value of your investment is going up. If price is going down, the value of your investment is going down. Now, concepts that we cover in the group with our training is things like hedging. So how to use things like futures contracts and options, which we haven't gone over yet, but we will in the future, to cover and hedge your position. So depending on volatility, if price goes up, you may lose BTC margin or you may gain BTC margin, but protect your dollar account. So if you have $10,000 worth of Bitcoin and you would like to have $10,000 worth of Bitcoin tomorrow and you would like to go to sleep without worrying about which way price is going to go, and you're not overly concerned with the amount of Satoshis you have, you're just concerned with the dollar value of your Bitcoin, this is a process that you can engage in, and we do cover this fully in the course. But yes, when you're spot long, it just means that you're not holding any shorts and you're just sitting long, whether in your cold storage wallet, which is typically where I keep the majority of my funds, or on the exchange, God forbid, if you are utilizing or if you are keeping your funds there. Good question. Thank you so much, Sanjeev. I said I wasn't going to take another chart request, but I will look at Monero for Wayne. Do the lightning round on him, guys. Monk says, could we hit 8,100 before 7,800? Yes, absolutely we could. Okay. Let's see here. I'll tell you what. Okay, so I see Ken suggesting that I speak with this guy, Mr. Craig Mason, about a Bitcoin SV. So I will extend you an invitation. Send me a DM on Discord. I don't know if I'll be able to have the conversation today. I've got a lot for the rest of the day. I kind of have a pretty open weekend, so perhaps we can schedule a time to begin communicating in Discord. If the conversation in Discord goes well, potentially we can have an open air conversation. I make no promises. I don't know who you are. And honestly, this channel does not exist to promote for BSV, to be quite honest with you. That's typically something that I push back on quite strongly, but I'm always willing to have an intelligent conversation. However, I reserve the right to determine what is the best quality content for my stream and our show for our community. So thank you for the invitation and opportunity. I extend you the opportunity to get a hold of me in my Discord. You can join it at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com, and we can have a conversation in there. Okay, so let's get into these chart requests, guys. We've got AMD from Wendy. Let's just get into that. Let's do... just utilize this one. Oh, why did I type in AMD BTC? You can tell I've had too much coffee this morning. Okay. Weekly perspective on AMD. Obviously, we've got the initial long signal over here. Very nice one. Continuing on. Pullbacks to the 8. No continuation long signal right now. I actually don't have the exit indications actually pulled in. We got earnings coming up in a few days. Ooh, baby. Let's see here. It depends on your perspective for AMD. If I was trading this is clearly a taking profit opportunity for me on AMD at 48.31 from an initial buy-in of about 34.70. Good swing trade. Waiting for a pullback down to our EMA cluster, potentially even the baseline at 39.57. Really, 44.58 would be the first potential buyback in area. Again, we had a nice continuation buy over here with the gold dot over on the 2nd of December. No such dot right now. I would assume I actually can't because I haven't coded it into this particular version of the indicator. I'd have to pull up in a different chart, which I'm not actually willing to do without revealing the stuff that I've worked on to show the exit indications right now. But I would assume that we may be getting an exit indication. Of course, we haven't had a really bearish week, just an indecision candle from the market. So I'd wait, obviously, for your first red candle, but this is also kind of your opportunity to sell at a very good price. So again, with that kind of run up, good opportunity to take some partial profits, move that stop loss to break even. As far as initiation of a trade right now, I see nothing, my friend. Just a good, nice bullish market, hoping for a pullback and continuation of the long, but we don't have that data yet. In an overall bullish daily trend, and an overall bullish weekly trend. When we get down to the daily, let's actually take a gander here. On the daily, again, bullish daily trend. We actually do have a continuation signal on the daily right here. And we're able to manage risk actually quite well. We're actually able to manage risk. Anything below 47.44, you would be able to manage risk. Any daily close below 47.44, we would be exiting the trade. So I think that this actually on the daily represents a good opportunity. Positional holds on the weekly, no data. On the daily time frame, actually there is a possibility for a reentry with this reversal baseline bounce. Pull back to the daily 8 exponential moving average as well. 13 and 21 are quite below us. All MAs pointed up. AMD is quite bullish, so you have to take the opportunity here. Perl USDT for Mr. Da Vinci. All right. Perl USDT, I believe the comment that you had made to me that was that Perl USDT had bounced off that trend line that I'd indicated the last time that we talked about. Interestingly enough, we're also bouncing off of the baseline as well right here after our second rejection from the daily 55 exponential moving average. Let's take a gander here. We actually don't have long continuation. We had long continuation here and here. I actually assume that now this system right here that I'm displaying, we are actually not able to take this trade. You can see the dots are above price, meaning that we have the opposite, meaning that we would have gotten a continuation signal, actually most likely on this candle. I apologize for not having the system live up and able to look at that time. I needed to refactor the code. So yeah, I mean, looking at this discretionarily, again, this looks like a secondary retest of resistance, pullback. We hope that it, again, we are still in a bullish trend, but waning and waxing, coming back down to our baseline right now. We do not have the ability to take continuations. We are actually going to need to crack 2311, I believe, to do that. It depends on when the indicator signals for us to go. 2311 would be the area to crack, at least on closing basis. Pearl's been a good ride. It kind of depends on BTC moving independently of that. It's not really responding well to the market pressure of BTC USDT. Again, we can hold trade open and profit and wait to manage risk below a close of the baseline right around 2049. Or we can go ahead, again, as I think we've already done, taking partial profits and moving that stop loss to break even would be my maneuver, and looking for reentry on this at 2313, at which point, if we got the continuation and reentry on this, almost assuredly we crack that 55 and get some higher prices on Perl USDT. Logan had asked for Go BTC. Go chain. Go chain. It's your birthday. Go chain. It's your birthday. Sorry. No trade candle right here. Initial long signal back over here on the 5th of January. I'm going to get these exit signals coded in here, I promise, guys. We do have bullish continuation. Bullish continuation on today's daily close. Nice, beautiful golden dot right here. No risk signal, so we're inbounds to take a continuation trade. Actually, Go chain looks actually quite nice to me. Basically, so with the caveat that, again, initial buy signal having taking profit. Now we're getting the secondary continuation signal right now. Let's see if we can get another push from Go BTC. Again, first wave, second wave. Let's see how much we've got left in us. This overall looks good. Overall bullish daily trend. Let's see here. Managing risk with the continuation at 235 sats. 235 sats is where we'd be managing risk. Looking for upside of at least 1 to 2 times that. And then XMR USD, right? Let's go look over on Bitfinex, XMR USD. Oh, Bitfinex is kind of in an interesting area. Look at these bull wicks throwing down to the downside. This is kind of an interesting area of distribution that we're in. Overall, of course, daily bullish trend. We've talked about this before. And we are actually getting our first gold dot continuation signal. We do have the overhead resistance of the 200 exponential moving average. We do have the 100 exponential moving average and the 8 below us to manage risk. So right now, this would be a continuation trade managing risk at about $56.21 with upside targets of at least 1, if not 2 times that. And again, keeping your eye on that 200 exponential moving average overhead at the $63 area. All right. Okay, guys. With that being said, that concludes the question and answer segment. Thank you guys so much for the great questions. Hopefully you guys are trading safely out there for Friday and for the weekend. And let's get into today's closing remarks. Guys, whatever you do, make sure that you're safe out there. As with all things, the only thing that is certain in life is death, I have been told, and as I've learned for myself. So what alternative do you have? The alternative that you have is to gamble. You can't gamble with death. You can't play dice with death. You've seen all the movies. I don't know if you guys remember the original movie where the guy plays chess with death and wins. But you can't do that, right? I highly doubt that death is going to show up and you're going to be able to play your favorite game of Go or dice or pinochle or Yahtzee or whatever you can. Death don't play games. So with that being said, and sorry to be morbid, but my whole point with this is, guys, this is 2020. This is a new year, right? And the only thing that you can gamble on is something other than death. And one of those things is trading. So make 2020 the year where you instill the habits, where you get the follow through, keep your trading journal, build your trading system, work hard, grind it out, put the time in, and build something that will be with you for the rest of your life, because Bitcoin is another gamble. Bitcoin is an investment. It is an opportunity to put your money and your faith behind something that can actually work and change the world. And sometimes that takes some iron cojones. So strong hands, ladies and gentlemen, long-term thinking. Be strong, be safe out there, manage your own risk. Money management is king, and discipline above all. My name is Justin Wise. I'm the lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Make sure to join our free Discord at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. And we will be back Monday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Trade safely and enjoy the weekend, guys. Make sure to reach out and hug the ones you love and spend time with your family. I'll see you on Monday.